these are all the new characters that will come to Marvel Rivals at some point in the future. Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So what I'm going to do here is take a look at the list of heroes that we already know are in the game files. And, well, we need to learn what these heroes actually are and what they're about. I'm going to be honest here, guys. I'm not the massive Marvel sort of fan. You know, I've never really consumed comic books. Yeah, I've seen some of the Marvel movies, but I've not seen them all. I've seen, obviously, Avengers and all of that. So, to me, there are a lot of heroes here that I actually don't really have any idea what they could be, or even like what class of hero they could be in the game. So I thought it'd be a fun thing to do, to take a look at these heroes, give a very brief sort of bit of background on them, and then we can kind of speculate on how they'll fit into the game. I will say, though, there are certain heroes that we know for sure are fairly close to completion. Like, we already know Human Torch and The Thing are coming to this season of the game. That's been confirmed by the developers. But there is also, if you guys want to go out and search for this, quite a lot of details on Blade and on Ultron. Again, we'll cover them in this video, but we're not going to go into detail on the leaked assets. More of what this is about is looking at the characters, looking at them in the existing Marvel lore, and then kind of speculating on what their abilities will be. But as you'll see, guys, it is actually bonkers the number of heroes they reference already in the game file. So yeah, let's do this. Let's just start off with a list, because this is absolutely insane. Locus, Cyclops, Colossus, Jia Jing, Paste Pop Pete, Professor X, Angela, M.O.D.O.K, Captain Marvel, Deadpool, Hitmonkey, Jean Grey, Ultron, Blade, and Emma Frost. That is a lot of heroes. This is Angela. Now, Angela is a very powerful Asgardian warrior. She's one of Thor's long-lost sisters and brothers. Apparently, I think Thor's actually got quite a few, but that's definitely what Angela is. Kind of like a half-sister, I should say. She was raised by the angels of heaven, and she possesses extraordinary combat skills, wielding the sword of the heavens and various celestial weaponry. And Angela is known for her unyielding determination and fierce loyalty. So, what could this actually be in terms of a hero? Well, it could be a Vanguard, definitely, but I'm kind of getting magic vibes here from Angela. She could just be another melee kind of DPS. In terms of what the abilities could be, again, like, you know, whatever. You can just come up with names. You can say, like, oh, she'd have, I don't know, Celestial Strike, and it's some sort of wide arcing slash with the sword, because she's got the fancy sword of the heavens. But I think it's still interesting to kind of speculate on what type of hero she could be. But probably a DPS hero, let's say a duelist. Now, if you don't agree with me, then let me know in the comments below what category you'd put these heroes in, because I think it'd be a super cool sort of thing to do. All right, let's move on. Blade. Now, I absolutely love Blade. The original Blade movie is sick beyond sick. I have got the nightclub scene seared into my head. It is actually fantastic. If you've not seen it, go and watch it. It is so good. So this is Blade, and yeah, his name is Eric Brooks, and he's a half-human, half-vampire hybrid. But the thing with him is, he is the Daywalker, so he can actually walk around in the daylight, which is obviously quite good. And he's got all that vampiric strength, but obviously he does have the weakness of he requires blood to function, which, yeah. So in terms of what class of hero he could be, it's absolutely got to be a duelist. I mean, Blade is all about killing people with a samurai sword. Well, and killing vampires, I should say, with a samurai sword. Yeah, he's got to be a duelist. I'd be very surprised if he's anything else. Can you imagine Blade as a strategist? What? Captain Marvel, yeah, so a former US air pilot, and she basically, actually, I think it may have been a male in the very original Marvel comics, but obviously in the MCU, Captain Marvel is a female, and yeah, basically turned into an absolute kind of like the most powerful hero there is, really. Massive strength, can fly, everything. It's like Superman on steroids. I think that's the way to kind of view Captain Marvel. Yeah, and what kind of abilities, and I guess what class would Captain Marvel be? Probably, again, a damage hero, a duelist. But again, could easily be a Vanguard, because Marvel, or Captain Marvel, I should say, is very strong, at least in the MCU. She's like, I mean, doesn't she fly through one of Thanos' ships and just rip it in half or something crazy? But she's just basically invincible. She could just destroy anybody, kill Thanos on her own, you know, whatever. She's like insanely powerful. So maybe she could be a Vanguard, but I'd expect her to be able to fly, because that's kind of one of her core abilities, I guess. Colossus. Colossus has got to be a Vanguard. I've just got to get straight in with that. So Colossus, he's a mutant from the X-Men series, and I think he's Russian as well. He basically covers his body in steel. I think it's organic steel, and it gives him superhuman strength and like I think he's invincible. He might not be totally invincible, but I think he's near invulnerable. And yeah, and he's massive, like absolutely massive. But also, I don't think he's very angry and nasty. I think he actually works, doesn't he, with Professor X, and he kind of looks after the X-Men. I think that's kind of what he's about. So yeah, he's got to be a tank. You know, he's got to have some sort of ability where he can absorb damage with his fancy steel skin. He's probably going to have some like close range melee attacks. You know, maybe he could like slam the ground and crowd control people or something like that. But that's probably where I go with Colossus. If he was a duelist, I'd be very surprised. Keeping it with the X-Men, we've got Cyclops. Yeah, Cyclops just fires a massive laser beam out of his eyes. Everyone knows who Cyclops is. I would expect ranged damage dealer here doing like crazed amounts of damage. But yeah, again, he's a member of the X-Men. I think he's the leader, isn't he, of the X-Men? Or at least no, he is, isn't he? He's the leader, Cyclops is. Yeah, I am correct saying that. He is the leader. And yeah, so tactically very strong. Obviously, his laser is incredibly powerful. He has to wear special goggles or glasses to stop his eyes from lasering people. Because obviously, if you watch any of the sort of X-Men media over the recent, well, since it began, I suppose, it's that kind of, I guess it's a trope of Cyclops where he accidentally kills somebody he loves because he looks at them. But if he's got his special glasses on, he won't. But yeah, fires lasers from the eyes. Yeah. Deadpool probably needs no introduction. Everybody knows who Deadpool is. Again, he's probably got to be a duelist. So, you know, yeah. He's basically the cheeky Wolverine without the Wolverine adamantium internal skeleton. It's not an exoskeleton. He doesn't have the blades or anything. But yeah, he's strong. He's fast. He doesn't die. He's immortal. He can heal any injury and all of that stuff. I'm sure there are injuries that could probably kill him. In fact, I think the Punisher actually. Marvel nerds out there in the chat, you let me know, because I think maybe the Punisher actually chopped him up into little pieces and spread him about all over the place, and then that way he couldn't actually regenerate, so he kind of killed him in a way. I think that happened. Let me know in the comments below. But anyway, he's got to be a duelist. He's just going to be a melee duelist. He's got his dual pistols, and he's got his samurai sword and his blades, and yeah, he's got to be he's got to be a duelist. Keeping it with the X-Men, you'll notice there's a lot of X-Men data in the file. So Emma Frost, she's a villain actually, but she actually becomes an ally of the X-Men, and she's a very powerful telepath, and she can transform her body into this like indestructible diamond form. She's also a bit of a manipulator as well. So what could she be? Well, I think actually she could potentially be a strategist, because if she's manipulating enemy players, that could mean things like ranged crowd control, a ranged stun ability, or deceiving enemy players. So maybe there's clones kind of like Loki out there which disrupt enemy players and absorb fire. Obviously the diamond skin thing could be like a or diamond form, whatever you want to call it, could be like a defensive ability, which would probably work quite well for a strategist. So yeah, probably Emma Frost is a strategist. Hitmonkey, I'm going to be honest, I had no idea what the hell Hitmonkey was. At least most of these I've heard of them. Hitmonkey, I was like, what in the hell is this? So I'm Googling it, and apparently, this is what Hitmonkey is. He combines incredible agility and martial arts with expert marksmanship, and his origins are one of revenge, making him a relentless pursuer of his targets. So if he's ranged, and if he is excellent at martial arts, he's got to be a duelist in terms of his abilities. I don't know, maybe this is another sniper hero with a close-range melee attack? Possibly. I mean, there's only one of those in... Well, I guess you could say Hawkeye's a sniper hero. You could probably say Hela is a sniper hero as well, just without the scope. But true sniper, there's only... As in, I mean, with a literal rifle with a scope, there's only Black Widow. So maybe Hitmonkey could join back Black Widow or something, I don't know. But yeah, insane hero. Jia Jing. Okay, I think she's known as Nature Girl. And she, again, is a mutant, so from the X-Men, and has got a very deep connection to nature and can communicate with animals and plant life. So I think this is very clearly an archetype for a strategist, because plants, life, growing, healing, animals. So some sort of floral bloom that heals people, maybe some sort of vine or something you can throw on the floor and it grows out and everyone in it gets healed, because Marvel Rivals loves AoE healing effects, especially when they're a shape you can throw onto the ground. Maybe summoning animals to sort of do a bit of damage to the enemy, or protective animals like that can sort of, I don't know, protect the target they're attached to. Maybe similar to like Luna Snow's ability, where you can apply it to an ally and they take a percentage of healing from the primary targets you're healing. So yeah, but Jia Jing has got to be a strategist, absolutely. Jean Grey, again of X-Men fame. Jean Grey is like literally the most powerful mutant in the universe, right? She is insanely powerful. She's like up there with the likes of Captain Marvel, and you could probably insert a couple of other like ultra powerful superheroes, let's call them, although super villains as well are very definitely in that. So, okay, Jean, she's basically telepathic, but she's also got telekinetic abilities, but she is the host of the Phoenix Force, which amplifies all of her powers to godlike levels. Like, she is incredibly powerful. So I think this is definitely a duelist. She will absolutely be a duelist. Maybe you could say she could be a tank because she is like super strong and nigh on invincible, but I think it's just the damage output. You could have like telekinetic blasts. You could have like something to do with the Phoenix ability. Like, you could even say Phoenix Force is probably her ultimate, transforms her into like an absolute beast, and all her abilities get super strong. So yeah, I'd imagine Jean Grey is probably a duelist hero, but maybe could be a Vanguard. Locus. Now, this is another one I had not heard of before, but again, this is another mutant, so from the X-Men series. And Locus is capable of teleportation and moving at extreme speeds, allowing her to traverse the battlefield effortlessly. Now, in terms of abilities, I mean, yeah, if you're moving really quick, some sort of ability that sort of blinks you around would probably be something you could bet money on. Maybe some sort of speed increase for the team. Think of like really fast teleportations could be super annoying to fight against. So I think this is probably a duelist again. And you'll notice that I think a lot of these heroes do fall into the duelist category. But again, the developers could throw a complete curveball at us and go, no, actually, this could be a tank hero, and then there's a unique take on it. But yeah, I think Locus probably a duelist. M.O.D.O.K, or the mental organism designed only for killing. So if you want to talk about telekinetic abilities, then this would be the guy for that. So basically, he's a massive head with a really small body. And yeah, he's a genius level super villain. He's got massively vast intellect. I mean, his intellect is on par with Mr. Fantastic, Tony Stark, all of anybody who's a genius. This guy is level, or if not even slightly better than them, but he's just got a really massive head and a really small body. He's got crazy mental powers, and he's got loads of crazy futuristic tech that kind of keeps him alive. So in terms of his abilities, I mean, you would just anything that's like mental. So like, he'd probably have some like telekinetic psychic energy beam or something that could blow your head off. Maybe he's got like some futuristic technology where he's got like, I don't know, fancy drones or something like that on the go. There's a lot of options you could do with M.O.D.O.K, and he's kind of in the category of like a Jeff, where he's like a funny, strange looking hero, would look completely different. And that got me thinking, actually, because you know what, maybe he could be a strategist, because even though he's got like a lot of mental capacity and to do damage, he could also use that to I don't know, keep people alive with mental shields and all that kind of stuff. So M.O.D.O.K would be crazy. And honestly, the memes would be insane. I mean, you guys can see the picture of him I threw up at the start of this bit of the video. Yeah, what the hell? Paste Pot Pete, also known as the Trapster. Again, I was like, what the hell is this? Googling this, having to go deep down a rabbit hole. A very old Marvel character. And it's basically a really quirky sort of villain that's armed with adhesive-based weaponry, so like glue and stuff like that. It's also a master of immobilization. So I think when we look at the classification of Paste Pot Pete, probably a strategist, because if he's all about controlling the battlefield, if he's all about keeping people in place, if he's all about slowing enemies, then yeah, and setting up kind of traps that glue people to areas of the map, potentially he's a support. But I suppose on the other end of the spectrum, he could actually be a Vanguard, because, again, like, look at Penny Parker with the little spider webs in a little spider nest. Maybe Trapster could be throwing that all over the point in a similar fashion and gluing people to the point. Yeah. Professor X, I mean, needs no introduction. Insane psychic powers. He's going to read your mind. He's not going to run anywhere. I shouldn't probably say that, but he's not. He's in a wheelchair. His legs are broke. But it doesn't matter, because his mind is so powerful, he can just fly around and do whatever he likes. Anyway, so he is the founder and I suppose the overall leader of the X-Men. Not on the battlefield, but he is the one in charge. And obviously played by Patrick Stewart in the recent movies as well. And yeah, so Charles Xavier, just absolutely, he's there for the mutants. He's there to help mutant kind interact with humans, and he wants to make the world a better place. So what would he be? I mean, he's probably going to be a strategist, right? Because he's all about supporting people. He's about misdirection. He's not about doing damage to people. He's not about killing people. He's not about murdering people. He's definitely not a tank because he's not built for anything like that. This guy's in a wheelchair, so he's not going to be tanking, but he's going to be using his mental powers. So I think absolutely 100% Professor X has got to be a strategist. There's just no other role I can see him fulfilling. The Hood. Okay, this is a really funky one. Kind of similar to Cloak and Dagger in some way, potentially. So this is Parker Robbins, and, well, they gain supernatural powers from a demonic cloak, including stealth and mystical energy manipulation. So this could be a sort of duelist DPS take on sort of the way Cloak and Dagger functions, where if you've got the Hood, and he's got his hood on, his fancy cloak, he can go invisible. He's got mystical energy, damage of some description. It's got to be a duelist, right? I mean, there's nothing to do with healing or support. There's no good side to this character. He's just all about basically killing people with his demonic cloak. But then again, maybe there is a good side, right? Without the Hood, maybe he is, you know, more of a happy chappy. I don't know. Again, you guys in the comments will have to let me know about this, but it definitely does sound like some sort of demonic damage-dealing hero with stealth capability. Ultron. Now, again, this is probably one a lot of people are familiar with. Again, I'm familiar with Ultron. Obviously, I've seen Avengers Age of Ultron. And, yeah, so this is just basically a super artificial intelligence that Tony Stark and Bruce Banner made. And it's self-aware. And he basically wants to kill everyone. But this has got to be a duelist hero. Again, there are leaks out there of the ability sets that this hero is possibly going to have. I'm not going to include them in this video, but you can Google it if you want to find out. But yeah, think energy beams, think you know, range damage, think the ability of flight and stuff like that. Possibly even like some sort of repair or heal over time. They could keep themselves in the fight, but absolutely has to be a duelist. Maybe could be a Vanguard, but I don't think so. I think this is a duelist hero. But again, if you do want to know, you can just Google the leaks and then that'll tell you for sure. Valkyrie, yeah, so another Asgardian, and I think one of the interesting things with Valkyrie is probably the use of the Pegasus to fly around, which could be like the first mounted hero in the game, possibly another aerial hero as well. But there is actually the outside chance that Valkyrie is not always on the Pegasus. They could use it as an ability, like where maybe it charges forward and does damage in a certain area, maybe in a straight line ahead, or you know, something like that. Expect like throwing spears and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of Valkyrie's MO. Again, if you've seen the recent movies from the MCU, which basically everybody has, you'll know what Valkyrie's like in those movies. So yeah, there is a chance that you basically get almost a carbon copy of Valkyrie. And I would imagine this is a duelist as well. I can't see it being a tank, and definitely not a support hero. But yeah, so there you go, guys. Those are all of the credible leaked heroes that are actually in the game's files. Now, we don't know what their abilities are. We don't know what their hero classification is. I just thought it'd be a fun thing to kind of do a quick breakdown of each one and then speculate on their abilities somewhat, and also speculate on what type of hero they could be. But I really want you guys to let me know in the comments below what you think each of these heroes could be. Like, please, somebody tell me what you think M.O.D.O.K's going to end up like, because he just looks crazy. M.O.D.O.K does. What the hell? I want to know. Let me know, guys, in the comments below. All right, thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed that, then yeah, like the video. It really helps a ton. Subbing to the channel helps a ton as well. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you lovely lot on the next video. See you soon.